17 years. That's how long Walker Smith showed up. Same store, same apron, same shift. Day after day, year after year, through bad weather, low pay, aching feet, and a cost of living that never stopped climbing. 17 years of doing exactly what he was told. And then one Sunday morning, he did something different, something that took 30 seconds. And within 48 hours, his job was gone. His income gone. The first home he had ever called his own, suddenly at risk. The man who tried to stop a crime became the one who paid the price for it. And right now, the entire United Kingdom is demanding answers. This is the story of Walker Smith, a 54-year-old supermarket worker from South London, a man you have never heard of until now. Stay with me, because this story goes much deeper than Easter eggs and a stolen bag. This story is about a broken system, a company caught in its own contradiction, and one ordinary man standing in the middle of it all, asking a question none of us want to answer. What would you have done? Picture the kind of man who never makes the news. Not because his life isn't worth telling, but because he's too busy living it quietly to end up in the headlines. Walker Smith is 54 years old. He worked as a shop assistant at Waitrose. Not the corporate headquarters, not a management office. The shop floor, Clapham Junction branch, South London. He stocked shelves. He helped customers find things. He showed up on time, and he did his job, and he went home. For 17 years. Now, 17 years at the same company sounds unremarkable until you think about what that actually means for a man living in London on a shop assistant's wage. London is one of the most expensive cities on earth. And for 25 of those years, a quarter of a century, Walker Smith couldn't afford to live alone. He shared flats, flatmates, other people's kitchens, other people's routines. Not because he was irresponsible, because that is the reality of working-class London. And then, just before all of this happened, something changed. Walker Smith finally moved into his own studio flat, his own place, his own key, his name on the door. After 25 years of shared living, he had done it, quietly, without fanfare, the way people like Walker Smith achieve things, by grinding, by saving, by never quitting. That flat was everything. It was the proof that 17 years of honest work had meant something. He also carried something else into that store every single morning, something his managers knew about and had on record. A diagnosed anxiety condition, something that made every difficult day slightly harder than it looked from the outside. This is the man at the center of this story. Not reckless, not aggressive, not a troublemaker. A quiet, hardworking 54-year-old who loved his job so much he would later describe Waitrose as being. And these are his exact words, like my family. Remember that phrase, because the moment it becomes heartbreaking is coming. Before we talk about what happened inside that store, you need to understand the world Walker Smith had been living in. Because without that context, this is just a story about Easter eggs. With it, it becomes something else entirely. Shoplifting in the United Kingdom is not what it was 10 years ago. The numbers from the Office for National Statistics are stark. Over 500,000 shoplifting cases recorded in England and Wales in a single year. Close to record highs, rising 5% in the year ending September 2025 alone. But here is what the official numbers don't tell you. They only count what gets reported. And the majority of retail theft never gets reported. Because retailers across the UK have quietly accepted that calling the police for shoplifting produces almost nothing. Officers who are overworked, underfunded, and prioritizing violent crime have little bandwidth for stolen Easter eggs. So the stores absorb it. They build it into their operating costs. They train their staff to step back, to observe, to do nothing. Stuart Mackin, the chief executive of Marks & Spencer, one of Britain's most iconic brands, has publicly described retail crime as more aggressive and more organized than at any point in recent memory. He's not talking about teenagers pocketing chocolate bars. He's talking about coordinated groups, Professional operations. People who do this for a living and have calculated correctly that the consequences are minimal. And at the Waitrose in Clapham Junction, Walker Smith watched it happen every single day. Every hour of every day for the last 5 years, he would later tell reporters. It's everybody from drug addicts to teenagers nicking bits and bobs or walking out with bottles of wine in their arms. Every hour, for 5 years. And the instruction every single time was the same. When not allowed to do anything. Now hold that image in your mind. A man watching crime happen on a loop for 5 years, hands at his sides, silent, and follow me to Easter Sunday, weekend 2026. Because that's when everything breaks. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it right now. Support me to make more cases and tell you happenings around, and you won't want to miss where it ends. April 5th, 2026. The store is busy. Easter weekend, one of the biggest shopping periods of the year. The shelves are full. Families are buying. The seasonal displays are stacked high with premium chocolate. And right there, prominent and golden, are the Lindt Gold Bunny Easter eggs. 13 pounds each. Beautiful foil packaging. The kind of gift people buy to say, I thought of you. Walker Smith is on shift, moving through the store, doing his job, and then a customer stops him. Not security, not a manager, just an ordinary shopper, someone who saw something and expected a member of staff to care about it. They tell Walker, someone is filling a Waitrose bag with Lindt Easter eggs. Walker looks up, and he sees him. This is the moment everything turns on, because Walker Smith doesn't see a stranger. He sees someone he recognizes, a face he knows, a repeat offender, someone who has been inside that store before, someone the staff know by sight. 5 years of watching, 5 years of doing nothing. Walker looks at the bag. He looks at the man calmly filling it, and something shifts inside him. Not explosive rage, not recklessness, something quieter. Something that, in that moment, probably felt like enough. He moves. What happens next is over before most people in that store even register it. Walker reaches the man. He grabs the bag, the Waitrose carrier stuffed with premium Easter eggs. The man doesn't release it. They struggle. 2 sets of hands. Seconds. And in the bag, a standard carrier bag not designed for a tug of war, snaps. Lindt Gold Bunny Easter eggs scatter across the floor. Gold foil everywhere. 13-pound chocolates rolling across supermarket tiles. The thief breaks free, runs, gone, out into Clapham Junction, into a city with bigger things to worry about than one man running from a supermarket. Walker stands there surrounded by scattered chocolate and the stares of people who just watched it happen. And then, in a moment he would replay in his mind for days afterward. He bends down, picks up a fragment of broken chocolate, and throws it. Not at the shoplifter, who is already gone. At some shopping trolleys nearby. Pure frustration. Raw and involuntary. The kind of physical release that happens when 5 years of compressed silence finally find a 2-second outlet. He would later insist, clearly and on the record, that he was not aiming at the fleeing thief. But it happened. Someone saw it. Walker goes back to work, shaken. That evening, he goes home and, in his own words, spends the night punching himself over what he'd done. Not because he thought stopping the thief was wrong, but because after 17 years, he knew the rule book, and he knew he'd broken it. He had no idea how completely his world was about to change. 2 days later, Walker Smith is called in. 2 managers. A formal meeting. The kind where the atmosphere tells you everything before a single word is spoken. Walker tries. He explains 5 years of watching theft go unchallenged. He talks about the repeat offender. He talks about the customer who came to him specifically because they expected him, as a member of staff, to act. He apologizes for the chocolate fragment. He appeals, genuinely and emotionally, to the years he has given this company. And then he says something that reveals everything about who Walker Smith is. He tells them that Waitrose is like my family. 17 years. That's what he's offering as a defense. Not a legal argument. Not a technicality. His loyalty. His identity. His family. And they fire him anyway. Not suspended. Not given a final warning. Dismissed. Contract terminated. Effective immediately. Official reason, violation of company policy. The policy clearly stating that staff must not confront shoplifters under any circumstances. Walker later tries to describe the moment they tell him. I tried to stay strong. I didn't say a word, but inside I was crying. And then the detail that the public cannot let go of. After 17 years, after nearly 2 decades of early mornings and long shifts and showing up, they don't walk him out the front door. They escort him out through the back, past the bins. I just felt demoralized, he says. Not furious, not defiant, demoralized. The word of a man who gave everything and was shown, in the end, exactly what it was worth. Before you keep reading, drop one word in the comments that describes how you feel right now. I read every single one. The story breaks, and the reaction is instant. Volcanic. Nationwide. Social media catches fire within hours. Every major news outlet. The Guardian, GB News, the BBC, the Daily Mail, floods with thousands of comments, the overwhelming majority expressing one thing. Disbelief. So the bloke who worked for Waitrose for 17 years tackled a shoplifter in Clapham, the same area we've seen rampant lawlessness, and Waitrose fired him? Disgraceful. They should thank him and give him a pay rise. That post gets shared across the country. Calls for a Waitrose boycott spread immediately. Shoppers publicly announce they will not enter a Waitrose store until Walker Smith is reinstated. Journalist Jane Moore, loose women regular, Sun columnist, puts it in terms the whole country understands. His sacking, she says, is a charter for all thieves to conduct a supermarket sweep, then leave without paying. That line lands everywhere, but it doesn't stop at commentators. It reaches Westminster. Chris Philp, the Shadow Home Secretary, writes a formal letter, addressed directly to Tom Dinyard, Waitrose managing director, posted publicly so the entire country can read it. In it, Phil calls the decision disgraceful. He demands Walker's immediate reinstatement. He demands an apology. And he argues, in writing in an official letter, that Walker Smith deserves a bonus for his bravery and initiative. A shadow minister, demanding a supermarket rehire shop assistant and pay him a bonus. There's almost no comparable moment in British retail history. And then the GoFundMe launches. Within 48 hours, over £7,000. Strangers, people who have never been to Clapham Junction, people who simply read this story and felt something, donating money to a man they have never met because they believe he was wronged. £7,000 in 2 days. While the thief who started all of this has faced zero consequences. Let that settle. I need you to stay with me here, because what I'm about to say is uncomfortable, and it's the part most coverage of this story deliberately skips. Waitrose might not be completely wrong. Their policy, the one Walker violated, did not come from corporate greed or cowardice. It came from something real. A Waitrose spokesperson states clearly, staff members have been hospitalized confronting shoplifters. Not threatened, not shaken, hospitalized. People who went to work to stock shelves and left in ambulances because a confrontation escalated in seconds into something violent. There is a serious danger to life in tackling shoplifters, the spokesperson says. We refuse to put anyone's life at risk. Nothing we sell is worth risking lives for. That is not a corporate talking point. That is a documented reality. Shoplifting confrontations in the UK escalate to violence constantly. Weapons appear more often than the public realizes. The calculation that an Easter egg is not worth a human life is not cowardice. On the evidence, it is rational. And Waitrose adds something else. Quietly, carefully, they say the media coverage of Walker Smith's case does not cover the full facts of the situation. They have not said what those facts are, but they exist. Walker himself confirms he was formally and specifically told not to confront shoplifters. He confirms he threw something, however small, however innocuously, during the incident. He confirms he went home that night questioning his own decision. So here's the real story underneath the story. A company with documented violent incidents tries to protect its staff with strict policies. A loyal employee pushed past breaking point by 5 years of unchecked crime, violates that policy in 30 seconds. And a system so broken that it produces this outcome, where the employee faces consequences and the criminal faces none, grinds on regardless. Nobody in this story is entirely the villain, and that is exactly what makes it so devastating. Come back to Walker for a moment, because beyond the politics and the social media storm, there's a 54-year-old man sitting alone in a studio flat in London, not knowing how he's going to pay his rent next month. That flat, the one he finally got after 25 years of shared living, is now at risk. His income is gone. His professional reference is, at best, complicated. And his confidence? His own word, on the floor. He has a diagnosed anxiety condition. His managers knew. It was documented. And now the only professional world he has known for 17 years is gone. And he was walked out past the bins to confirm it. The fundraiser organizer describes him as a man who simply tried to do the right and noble thing. £7,000 from strangers says the country agrees. But strangers' donations don't pay London rent forever. And Waitrose hasn't changed its mind. If this story is making you think, share it right now with someone who needs to see it. Let's make sure Walker Smith's story reaches every corner of this country. Here is where the story takes a turn nobody predicted. While Waitrose holds its position, while politicians write letters, while the country argues, a rival supermarket makes a move. Lord Richard Walker, executive chairman of Iceland, and coincidentally a man who shares a surname with a fired employee, goes on LinkedIn and makes a public offer, directly to Walker Smith. You're welcome to a job with us. We even share the same name. A corporate executive, publicly, on social media, offering a fired man a job in front of the entire country. It goes viral within hours, not just because it's smart PR, though it is brilliant PR, but because it hits the nerve the whole story has been pressing on. It says, you did the right thing. Someone sees it. Walker responds publicly. He thanks his supporters. And then, with the grounded honesty of a man who has bills to pay, he says his priority is simple. Getting a job, not revenge, not a campaign, not viral fame. A job. The man let out past the bins is now receiving public job offers from supermarket executives, while the man who stole those Easter eggs has never been found. Walker Smith's appeal against his dismissal is still ongoing. Waitrose has not reinstated him. They continue to state that proper procedures are being followed and that the full facts of the situation have not been made public. The GoFundMe has passed £7,000. Iceland's offer is on the table. And somewhere in London, a repeat offender who walked into a supermarket on Easter Sunday and tried to steal a bag of chocolate is going about his life. Unchallenged, unidentified, consequence-free, while Walker Smith waits. And the question his story leaves every single one of us with, the one that has no clean answer, the one that will stay with you long after this video ends. If you had watched crime happen in front of your face every hour, every day for 5 years, and then saw it happen again, right there, right in front of you, would you step in? And if you did, and they fired you for it, would you do it again? Walker Smith has never said he was wrong. He has said he was demoralized. He has said he was crying on the inside. He has said he spent that Sunday night punching himself. But he has never said he was wrong.